Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside the Boardroom. I'm your host, Mel Schaefer. Now, Kairos Pharma is a clinical stage biopharma company focused on developing new cancer treatments. They're working on therapies to overcome drug resistance and improve the effectiveness of existing treatments. Their lead drug, ENV105, is showing promise in helping patients with lung, prostate, and other cancers. Today, I'm joined by John Yu, CEO and Chairman of Kairos Pharma. Thanks so much for joining us today, John.
Thank you for having me, Mel.
So to get started, Kairos recently received a $600,000 grant from the Department of Defense to support your work on ENV205. How will this funding help push your research forward, and what impact could it have for cancer patients?
This is a novel molecule that targets mitochondrial DNA, which is a mechanism of resistance that's developed against chemotherapy agents. This is a second-line resistance therapy agent that we've developed, and the funding will allow us to get it into the clinic. Most importantly, this is the method by which we've really propelled the company forward, which is to get non-dilutive NIH and federal funding that allows us to do this research, bring it to clinical trial, develop a therapy without diluting our investors.
Right, and I wanted to ask you next. At a recent AACR conference, Chyros shared a new data on two of your drugs, KROS101 and KROS401. Can you tell us a bit about the results and what they could mean for treating melanoma and brain tumors?
Sure. KROS101 is a small molecule that targets the GITR ligand. And GITR is a molecule that's been used, tested by companies with antibodies against this lever that increases T cells to target cancer cells. But they've encountered significant problems because they weren't able to develop enough of an immune response, and they developed an autoimmune response against the stomach. Our agent shows a much more significant T cell response into the tumors, suggesting that it can overcome the problems of previous drugs. And so we're quite pleased with the results. We think it will be a game changer in cancer immunotherapy and allow us to really expand the number of T cells that can target a cancer without the autoimmune effects from previous antibodies that were used against this agent.
Okay, so, and something else that you have upcoming, you recently opened a trial site at the University of Utah for your phase 2 study. What makes this location important, and what are you hoping to learn from the trial?
Yeah, University of Utah is a very large center with an investigator that's been prominent in leading national trials. But what we hope to accomplish is to really rapidly enroll patients onto our randomized phase 2 trial that tests ENV105, which is an antibody that targets CD105, a central mechanism of drug resistance that's developed. This will allow us to propel this trial and allow us to rapidly enroll so that we can get to the results quicker.
Okay, and your team published new research showing how ENV105 can help overcome drug resistance in lung cancer. Can you explain how it works and why this could be a big step forward for patients?
Yeah, so in this paper, we showed that patients with lung cancer, when CD105 rises, they die much sooner. We also showed that our antibody, ENV105, reverses the resistance that's developed against Tagrisso in lung cancer patients. And so by virtue of using this drug, we can reverse the resistance that's developed to Tagrisso in patients. And that's what we're testing in a phase 1 trial, presently enrolling at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center.
Okay, it's very promising. Just lastly, I wanted to ask, what's next for Kairos Pharma? Are there any big milestones or updates that investors should be looking for in the months ahead?
Yeah, so we do plan to release our safety and interim efficacy results from our phase 2 randomized trial in prostate cancer in the first half of 2025. We think the data will really be something that will propel the company forward and allow us to partner potentially with pharma in developing our drugs in the future.
Yeah, and I mean, we're almost in the second quarter of 2025, so it looks like there's lots for investors to be excited about as we head into the next quarter. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Mel. It was a pleasure.